Okay, my wonderful friends, this is so important. I need you to contact literally everyone you know. I don't care if they have an autistic kid or what, because they will know somebody that does, trust me. It is becoming an epidemic. Now, it's a huge rise. It's 1 in 40 now. It's going up from 1 in 91, which is still pretty high in 2009, to 1 in 40 in 2017. That's only in 8 years now, and it's getting worse. And they're trying to figure out why, and I think I have the answer to that. Now, Benjamin Zablotsky is saying that they're looking for every answer that they can find and looking for answers to questions, and they're looking for people to help. And here's what I have to say. And Marguerite O'Reilly, I think, is the one that needs to be contacted to take on the regime that her and I worked out with her son John, who has autism and has come really a a tremendous amount of progress. And in very simple, easy to do things that require just a regime, a little bit of a regime, but that's a lot better than the other outcome. By the way, I don't want to scare you off with the regime thing. It's very simple. It's basically probiotics and a couple of little minerals. That's it. Very, very simple. Now, it's just, you know, she had trouble getting her son to take them in the beginning, but this particular Garden of Life, I think it's called Garden of Life Primal Defense, they had one made for kids, which was a powder one that she mixed in with ice cream, I believe she did, and he took it, and he just started getting better and better and better, and he's much, much better now. So I think this is something not to be poo-pooed at. This is something that we really, really, really need to look at, because the ramifications are just absolutely exponential. So, and the lives that will be affected, just, it warms my heart to think about it. Okay, my friends, Roger Spur, Mudfossil University. I'm telling you something, I'm starting to get pretty excited, because I think we may be on to a new way to treat some of these sort of evasive conditions that nobody seems to know what to do about. Now, one of them is autism, and we're having some success there. And I believe at this point, and this is just speculation, I'm not making any grand statements, but I have seen a tremendous change in the attitude towards bacteria that's in your body, that it's not always bad and kill everything in there, antibiotics. No, now it's been known now for quite some time, really, but it's been really lately brought to the forefront how important the good population of bacteria is in you. And I now feel that it's literally the wiring of the nerves in your body, which is this right here. All right. Here's what, and I did a couple of videos on this, because I'm homing in. This is the way I do my research. I sort of dig, and I dig a little deeper, and I dig a little deeper, and then all of a sudden something pops out of the ground. And I think I just saw something pop. Now, I started to go through the wiring, and then the sheathing, which is nothing more than insulation around the wire, basically a wire, and it actually looks exactly identical. I don't know if they show the pictures of it here. Yeah, look, it's wrapped right around. It says that's exactly identical, and no difference whatsoever. And the more layers of insulation, the better the insulation is. And you say, oh, Roger, why would that be? Well, one thick layer instead of a whole bunch of little layers? Well, because in electron flood theory, it establishes the fact that electrons coat everything. So if you have one layer of electrons against another layer of electrons, you have a push to shove. So you have a separation layer, pushing to shoving away. The next one pushes to shoves away, pushes to shove, push to shove. So now, instead of having this thick, you got it this thick. It's not just thick. It's really literally crushing the signal inside. And the signal inside must absolutely without question has to be an electrical conduction. There is no other thing that exists other than electrical conductions. And electrical conduction means you push anything against another thing. That's an electrical push to shove. Because electrons coat everything, so it's electron to electron, case closed. Doesn't matter. And when we go into the copper, when you see what copper does, because copper is so flush with excess electrons, it's absolutely amazing what copper does. But let's get back to this. We need to be certain that your electrical signals are not messed with. And this is the sheath. So I keep going down deeper and deeper. Now I know that this is nothing more than a membrane. And what is a membrane? A membrane is loaded with tiny, about 1,000 times tiny holes in there. And they're little rubber bags with a little bit of fluid in them. But I mean, so small you'd never ever be able to see that without an electron microscope. And in those little tiny, 1,000 times tiny bags is bacteria, which is tiny times 10,000. And they live in that water. And what do there, Roger? Well, they wait around for something to do. And if they see a guy coming through here that's trying to break through and eat up this whatever it is here, this myelin sheath, and that's what happens. Toxins come down there, they try to burn through there. Little critters get in there, they try to bite through there. You need two things to mitigate that. You need one, and that's the most important one, is slime. And that's what membranes do. They produce mucus. Mucus membranes. Mucus membranes. Slime membranes. Why do they slime? So that the stuff can't get through the tissues. Now, it might get through one tissue, it might get through two layers. That can happen, absolutely. But the more layers you have, the less likely it's going to penetrate, because every one of them is coated with slime. So there's the second reason for this wrapping effect. Now I say to myself, well, how would they break through that? It seems like it's pretty defensive. Well, what if the bacteria was dead? Bacteria creates the slime. Slime doesn't just grow there by accident. The bacteria are waiting to be sensed. They go out and they literally sense. And they have done this now. Look up a video. It's called "Your Textbooks Are Wrong. This is what your cells look like." Where do you see it? It'll blow your mind. They show the bacteria going out, gobbling up slime, bringing it out, the whole 9 yards. So, what keeps the slime healthy? Well, what keeps the slime available is the bacteria has to stay healthy. Well, what keeps the bacteria healthy? There's certain things you can do that will enhance that bacteria. First of all, we don't even know what that bacteria is. Nobody knows this stuff. Nobody has a clue about what exists in the body other than, that's a myelin sheath, that's a this, that's a this, that's a that. Well, what is it made of? Who made it? How does it stay healthy? What is the conditions it lives in that can make it function correctly, or make it stiff, or cause it to deteriorate, or puncture it? Well, first of all, antibiotics are absolutely disastrous unless you can replace the natural probiotics, which are the living little creatures that we just talked about, living in those tiny times 1,000 pockets. If you can't replace them, you're done. You are a candidate for invasion. Let's put it that way. You may not get invaded because you may never get attacked by something, but you will always have a vulnerability to being attacked. And usually you're going to get attacked by something. I mean, that's just the nature of life. You need some kind of ability to fight back, or you're done. Everybody lives in the same soup. If I'm healthy and you're unhealthy, why? Why? We're breathing the same, if we're living right in the same. Now, usually if you find the same household, you find out, oh, that's genetic related. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it's the way they eat. Maybe they never have anything that has zinc in it or iron in it or whatever it is. Or maybe they just happen to have a water source that there is contaminated with something, or it contains excess of something, or whatever it is. There's more to it. What we need to do is have a map of what exists in everywhere in the body. What is in the thumb? What's in my wrist? What's in my elbows? Everything's different. Every part of your body is different because it's dealing with different conditions, different chemistry, different. It's tendinous, it's muscular, it's organ, it's fascia, it's whatever it is. We need a map. We need a map. And these things live in here. What lives there? What does a healthy person have living? Exactly right there. And that is right there. What is it there? We should be able to map it. All green stuff over in there, all blue stuff down to here until you get to there. And then you get into the tendinous area, and then it's going to be pinkish. And then you get in the muscle. It's going to be, and whatever that particular bacteria is, we should be able to colorize it throughout the body and display a body, and then go and say, well, let's take a picture of that guy. Poof! Say, holy smokes, that's pink instead of blue. Well, why? And then we find out what's living there, and when it's pink, what the issue is, and then maybe we can just turn it blue with squirt some little blue stuff in there. I mean, it could be that simple. I'm not kidding you. It's bacteria. Once it's dead, it's dead. But you can't. That doesn't mean you couldn't put some more in there if you knew what to do. So we need to get, and the Schwann cells are what I am focusing in on now. And I have put out a couple of feelers. We need some autopsy people. Hopefully, I don't know if they can do this. I haven't gotten any results from anybody. What we need to know is in those Schwann cells. I don't think it shows it here. Hold on a second. All right, let's just go right here. This is how the signals are sent. You see they're sending down, and then they get down here, and I don't know why they're spinning them, but now that's what the conduction method is from the processor to the end result. And I guess they're just showing what happens inside here. And it jumps between each one of these little segments. Now, I don't know whether that's because it needs to be like bumped up the signal, or it's just segmented so that it can twist and do all those things. I don't know. But that's the conduction method. Now, here's a better shot. This is a cross section. I showed this wiring the other day. All right. This is a cross section. The wire comes right out. That's a wire. This is insulation, and this is serious insulation. This is identical to this right here. There's the wire, There's the insulation around it. There's the heavy-duty fiber insulation, which gives you all those layers of push to shove. And that's what this is. It's exactly identical. No difference whatsoever. Now, this is a nucleus. These just wrap right around as they grow. Now, if you could break through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers, you may not be damaged. You may be perfectly fine. But why would it do that? You see all these little outside layers here? There's a membrane around it. See this little membrane? Once it breaks through the membrane, now you're in a vulnerable condition. However, we don't know any of this yet. We have no clue what's going on yet. So what we need to do is to be able to understand what is living in these areas. What is the fluids supposed to be? And then a guy comes in, he says, I got a problem over here and all this and that or whatever. You go to that area and see, are you being invaded? And where you are being invaded, what is invading you? Why don't you react positively against that thing? You're missing something more than likely. That's how I'm going to look at this. And I don't see any reason we can't do this research. This is not real, serious, deep research even. You take the slices, you analyze them, you find out what the biology is, you find out what the chemistry is, you find a sick guy, you find a healthy guy, you come back and forth, and you do 20, you can't do just one guy and another guy. You got to do a lot of it. And then once you have a database set up, and you say, well, 97% of the people that were sick were missing the lactobacillus, da-da-da-da-da, well, that would be a clue. You know, without doing the research, it's just all guesswork. And right now, I don't think they have a real good handle on this at all. Well, let me put it this way. They don't have a handle on it at all. They're starting to come around to the bacteria, but it goes so deep, this bacterial connection, that I don't think they followed it all the way as deep as we're going to have to go. And so we need to get somebody to do the research, that's all. People are saying, oh, we got to do this research, we got to do this research, we got all this money. Well, do the research, do this. Then let's see what the result is. Maybe it's going to help, maybe it won't. I think it's going to help. This is just phenomenal how the body is literally identical to a sophisticated, autonomous vehicle that's, you know, I mean, just think of what we can do. It's just absolutely, well, some of us. No, I'm just kidding you. But it's just an amazing, amazing, amazing machine. That's the way I see things. I see things in a materialistic way. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I see things have to make sense to me. And then from there, the things that never made sense all of a sudden make sense. But until you can stretch your mind around outside of what you've been told to believe, then nothing will ever make sense. You know, who would say to you, that rock is the head of a goose? Well, Roger would. But, you know, I'm telling you, people, they react negatively to this kind of information because it really throws a wrench in what they've really paid to be told to say. Because that's what learning is now, is being told to repeat what you were told to say. And Mudfossil University, we don't do it that way. So it's not, you know, it's going to be a slow curve to learning because it's hard for people to make changes. I understand it now. I thought everybody would just, oh, yeah, let's jump right on this and look at it closely. No, it seems to be a very different sort of attitude where the denial is the first stage. And I just go back and I read this, yeah, denial, and then before long it's, oh, everybody knew that. And, you know, and we're getting close to that point now. It's been 10 years. But now I'm getting to people say, well, who didn't know that? It was pretty obvious, isn't it? You know, that type of thing now. And believe me, before it was not that kind of response. But anyway, we're getting there. All right, I love you all. Let's see if we can cure this. And if we can cure this, and cure autism, and cure motor nerve response diseases, which is just breakthroughs. As far as I'm concerned, you break through that wire, all kind of things are going to happen. You break through this, all kind of things are going to happen.